Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Good morning, devotees. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, 29th chapter, verses 11 and 12. So let's get started. Matguna Shruti Matrena Mai Sarva Guhashaye Manogatir Avichinna Yatha Gangam Bhashom Budhau Lakshanam Bhakti Yogasya Nirgunasya hi udharitam ahaituki avyavahita ya bhakti purushottame. Once more we can say, Madguna Shruti Matrena Mai Sarva Guhashe Manogatir Avichinna Yatha Gangam Bhasyom Budho Lakshanam Bhakti Yogasya Nirgunasya hi Udharatam Ahaituki Avyavahita Ya Bhakti Purushottame. Now we can go over the synonyms. Synonyms are mat, of me, guna, qualities, shruti, by hearing, matrena, just, mai, towards me, sarva, guha, ashe, residing in everyone's heart, managati, the heart's course, avachinna, continuous, yatha, as Ganga of the Ganges, ambhashe, of the water, ambudho, towards the ocean, lakshanam, the manifestation, bhakti yogasya, of devotional service, nirgunasya, unadulterated, he indeed, udharatam, exhibited, ahetuki, causeless, avyavahita, not separated, ya, which, bhakti, devotional service, purusha uttame, towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. The manifestation of unadulterated devotional service is exhibited when one's mind is at once attracted to hearing the transcendental name and qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is residing in everyone's heart. Just as the water of the Ganges flows naturally down towards this ocean, such devotional ecstasy, uninterrupted by any material condition, flows towards the Supreme Lord. Purport. The basic principle of this unadulterated, pure devotional service is a love of Godhead. Matkuna Shruti Matrena means just after hearing about the transcendental qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. These qualities are called Nirguna. The Supreme Lord is uncontaminated by the modes of material nature. Therefore, he is attractive to the pure devotee. There is no need to practice meditation to attain such attraction. The pure devotee is already in the transcendental stage, and the affinity between him and the Supreme Personality of Godhead is natural and is compared to the Ganges water flowing towards the sea. The flow of the Ganges water cannot be stopped by any condition. Similarly, a pure devotee's attraction for the transcendental name, form, and pastimes of the Supreme Lord cannot be stopped by any material condition. The word avichinna, without interruptions, is very important in this connection. No material condition can stop the flow of the devotional service of a pure devotee. The word ahetuki means without reason. A pure devotee does not render loving devotional service to the Supreme Personality, to the Personality of Godhead, for any cause or for any benefit, material or spiritual. This is the first symptom of unalloyed devotion. Anyabhilashita shunyam, he who has no desire to fulfill by rendering devotional service. Such devotional service is meant for the Purushottama, the Supreme Personality, and not for anyone else. Sometimes pseudo-devotees show devotion to many demigods, thinking the forms of the demigods to be the same as the Supreme Personality of Godhead's form. It is specifically mentioned herein, however, that bhakti, devotional service, is meant only for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan, Vishnu, or Krishna, not for anyone else. Avyavahita means without cessation. A pure devotee must engage in the service of the Lord 24 hours a day without cessation. His life is so molded that at every minute and at every second, he engages in some sort of devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Another meaning of the word avyavahita is that the interest of the devotee and the interest of the Supreme Lord are on the same level. The devotee has no interest but to fulfill the transcendental desire of the Supreme Lord. Such spontaneous service unto the Supreme Lord is transcendental and it is never contaminated by the material modes of nature. These are the symptoms of pure devotional service, which is free from all contamination of material nature. So this is a very, very beautiful purport. There are a lot of good points here. So let's get started. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So I thought I'll start with giving a little bit of a background to this verse. This verse is talking about unadulterated devotional service, how one can attain it, what are the symptoms, and very beautifully, Prabhupada explains the main points, which we can keep into view. But I think that, let me give some introduction about the previous 3 verses leading up to this verse, because then it'll make more sense. So we'll begin with actually 8, 9, and 10 are, the verses before this. And these verses actually, Kapila Dev is speaking to Mother Devi Huti about, bhakti, about, different modes of bhakti in different modes and pure bhakti. And in verse number 8, bhakti in the mode of tamogun, like in ignorance is described. There, Srila Prabhupada says in his translation that devotional service executed by a person who's envious, proud, violent and angry, and who's a separatist is considered to be in the mode of darkness. So in the mode of darkness, what happens is actually the intention behind bhakti is very, very important. If the intention is mostly envy, or it's some sort of violence or pride or anger, then it becomes the bhakti in the mode of darkness. And such bhakti is actually devoid of compassion. You're not really looking at everybody equally, or you're thinking that you're the best. Your sense gratification is the best. You are proud. You're always angry. You're envious, and and those type of qualities are there. So in this way, it's a mixed type of a bhakti. It's bhakti, but it's mixed, and it's at the lowest grade. That is the tamasa type of a bhakti. I was just thinking, a couple of years, or maybe I don't really remember, but some time back, one of my friends who was a school friend of mine, she was asking me about and she is not into Krishna consciousness at all. So she, was asking me about some devotee in another organization, and she said that this devotee, she was referring to these qualities which I just mentioned, and she says I have a hard time, uh, thinking that how he's even a devotee, and even the non-devotees are so much more pleasant. And so I just gave her some of the answer at that time, not having read this purport. But today, when I'm reading this purport clearly, then it's quite clear that Prabhupada, he gave 2 points, for such a Vaishnava. He says that a Vaishnava who has taken the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even if he's not pure, he's a Vaishnava, right? Even they may not be pure. And then one, you have to offer respects because after all, he's a Vaishnava. But one should not keep the company. One should not keep the company of a Vaishnava in the mode of ignorance. So there are 2 points that Prabhupada very beautifully says. Give respects, but don't keep such company of, such a Vaishnav too much. And then Prabhupada then goes on to verse number 9, in which he describes bhakti in the mode of passion. And then, in his, very quickly, I'll read the translation. The worship of deities in the temple by a separatist with the motive of material enjoyment, fame, and opulence is devotion in the mode of passion. So the person who's in the mode of passion, they're looking more like fame, or they're looking more like opulence, more like admiration from people, So it's a material desire again, and then so then your object of enjoyment becomes something other than the Lord. It becomes tinged with materialism. So again, then that becomes, then you look at Lord as a order supplier. Okay, whenever I'm a problem, I just go, have some sort of a desire, and, Lord has to fulfill that kind of thing. So again, that kind of devotion is also mixed devotion. And the third type of devotion is, of course, the devotion in the mode of goodness, which Srila Prabhupada says that when a devotee worships the Supreme Personality of Godhead and offers the result of his activities in order to free himself from the inebriaties or fruit of action, his devotion is in the mode of goodness. So in the mode of goodness, what happens is that we may offer our results of our activities to Lord, and we may think that, okay, if there's some mistake, at least we have offered to the Lord. So we are free from the burden of karma, so, or we may say that I want liberation. So, but then again, all these are also tinged with some sort of material gain for yourself, even though it is in the mode of goodness, which is very good, compared to the other modes. But even that, for the pure devotee, even that has to be, you have to go over that. For the pure devotee, of course, he has already transcended. So those are some very, very beautiful points that Srila Prabhupada has said leading up to this verse. And so I thought that, then let's go to this particular verse, which is talking about, okay, now that we've seen that mixed devotion, and I think, all of us are in some sort of a mixed devotion. Most of us are not even in the pure devotional services yet, but, we can think of points on how to get there and what are the symptoms. So Srila Prabhupada, again, I'll read the translation again, and also parts of the purport, because, we can use those points for discussing further. So the manifestation of unadulterated devotional service is exhibited when one's mind is at once attracted to hearing the transcendental name and qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who's residing in everyone's heart, just as the water of the Ganges flows down naturally towards the ocean. Such devotional ecstasy, uninterrupted by any material condition, flows towards the Supreme Lord. So if you look in the translation, what Srila Prabhupada is saying, that you're hearing the transcendental name and qualities, name, and the qualities. It becomes kind of automatic for the pure devotee. And it's just like how the Ganges is flowing to the ocean uninterruptedly, and reaches the ocean. Such a devotional service, irrespective of any material condition, is just going towards the Supreme Lord. Now, Srila Prabhupada in the purport, actually very beautifully, he has zeroed down on 3 different points, which he has put in 3 different paragraphs. And these are like he's emphasized like on some certain Sanskrit words from the verse. And in the first paragraph, he's actually emphasizing on this madguna shruti matrena, this thing that just after hearing about the transcendental qualities of the Supreme Lord, this is what he's emphasizing on. And he says that these qualities are called nirgun, okay? And then he says that the Supreme Lord is uncontaminated by material, like we are contaminated, right, by material modes, but Supreme Lord is never contaminated. And therefore, we are attracted to him because he represents a higher ideal. And what happens, and then, of course, Srila Prabhupada also emphasizes the example of the Ganges. So you see, when the Ganges is flowing down, sometimes it may come across a tree, or it may come across some hard rock, or it may come across various obstacles, but it just goes through the obstacles and then goes towards the ocean. Similarly, a pure devotee has so much attraction for the name, the form, and the pastimes that no material condition can stop that attraction. Nothing can stop that attraction. It's without interruption. So this is what the pure devotee, and then what comes into mind when, at least what came into my mind when I was reading it was the Ganges, right? And how Kunti Maharani also in her prayers, she says, part of her prayers, that is in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.8.42, she says, O Lord of the Madhu, as the Ganges forever flows into the sea without hindrance, let my attraction be constantly drawn to you without being diverted to anything else. So even when the king, when her sons are established in the throne, she just says, give me calamities. She says, so that I may totally remember you, and uninterrupted, nobody can interrupt it. It just has to keep flowing towards you, my attraction. So that's a pure devotee, and that's always attracted to Lord Krishna, always attracted, to the glories, hearing the glories and the name. And like we have Haridas Thakur, right? Ram Nama Charya Haridas Thakur, chanting 300,000 holy names a day. So like the attraction to the holy name. I mean, the whole day, then you're just thinking about Krishna, right? You're hearing the holy name. So it's so beautiful that, if you can really do that. But that's such a high level. And then, now the second paragraph is talking about the word ahaituki. Ahaituki means without reason. So what Srila Prabhupada is saying, that a pure devotee does not render loving service to the personality of Godhead for any cause or for any benefit, material or spiritual. And this is the first symptom of unalloyed devotion. And such, then he's referring to the word anya bhilashita shunyam. He has no desire to fulfill by rendering devotional service. So such a, so this particular thing actually, what it's referring to is that a devotee who's on the pure devotee platform, they will not even like accept like benedictions, even like material, or not even asking for like spiritual benedictions. Mainly, they are not even looking for like anything. They are not even looking for any benefit, that I'm doing this because of any benefit. And of course, sometimes it does take a while to get there, because most of us, we are looking for benefits, right, from the Lord. But there's remember, pure devotees, it's just a total level of surrender, which is, okay, no matter what is happening, the Lord is doing it. I accept it totally. And I'm not looking for God. I'm only like looking for love of God. That's it. I'm not looking, okay, why I should love God, or do I have a purpose or a reason? So, if some of you have seen this Mahavatar Narsimha movie, which I also saw, uh, there's one scene where Prahlad, and he's so cute in the movie, he's so sweet, really. But there's one scene where, people have been designated to push him down the cliff. And I'm not really quoting the exact words since I don't remember, but it's something to this effect. And the person said, going to push him, asks him that, you've been so ill-treated, and, we're going to push you, and, you're going to just fall to your death, right? And so, aren't you afraid, or what do you think about it? And Prahlad said that, if it is the will of Lord Vishnu, I'm fine, and then he kept on chanting Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya in a most peaceful way, totally like he seemed like not affected by any danger that he was in, but like he was just focusing on the Lord all the time. So that's how a pure devotee is, okay, if it's the will of the Lord, but I'm just focusing on my practice or my love of the Lord. And it's so inspiring to watch that, because often, oftentimes in our life, we face so many difficulties, and, we are like, especially if you're in the top of the cliff and somebody's pushing you, you'll be saying, oh, please save me, please save me. And you'll be like praying, and, which is not wrong, it's not wrong. But the thing is, level of pure devotion is like, okay, I'm just leaving it to the Lord, and that's such a different level. And another story that comes into mind is Dhruva Maharaj, how he had to go through stages, right? I mean, his stepmother ill-treated him, and then so didn't let him sit on the lap of King Uttanapad. And so then he had to go to his mother and ask for advice. Mother said, I can't help you. I'm not the favorite queen, but God can help you. So go to the forest, and so he went there, and Narad Muni appeared, and Narad Muni tried to discourage him initially. He said that, you are not you're too small, you're too young for this, you're a prince, go back. And Dhruva Maharaj was adamant, and what he wanted was a kingdom even more than his father, and so a tinge of revenge and tinge of wanting something material. But the thing is, then he started, chanting mantra of the Lord. And that mantra, that name became so much a part of him, and it just purified him so much that, he started thinking in the end, Vishnu appeared to him, because, he underwent such severe penances that even earth started, getting impacted and all. And then Naam purified him, because then he realized he was looking for glass, and now, he found diamond in the form of Lord Vishnu, right? And then all he was thinking about was love of Godhead, really love of God, that's all. So then he reached that pure devotional service. Of course, he got many things, right? Dhruva Loka, and he also achieved Lord Vishnu's blessings for devotional service and so on. So, but he had to go through this whole process, and finally, he became a pure devotee of the Lord, through this, like is said in this verse, through this attraction towards the name, actually, of the Lord, he transcended all his material desires. And then the third paragraph talks about avyavahita, which means without cessation. Without cessation means uninterrupted, like it's not stopping. Like some days, sometime we may stop, like one day we may do, of course, chanting we have to do every day, but the thing is, some other things we may, okay, today I'm too busy or whatever. But these pure devotees, every minute and every second, Srila Prabhupada is saying some sort of devotional service they are engaged in, and their actually interest is nothing else but only serving the nothing material. Absolutely, only love of Godhead is what they are actually interested in. And I was also thinking that sometimes all of us have within us a tendency, like society, to get a little impacted by society from time to time, maybe for some name or whatever material desire or whatever to fulfill. And it's so very natural, actually, for a human being to get impacted and to go towards a lower frequency than Krishna consciousness from time to time. But uh, the thing is, if you're in Krishna consciousness, you want to be in this higher frequency, and so this getting impacted by whole of this society's things and everything. Okay, you're doing your duty, but not when, how, you should know how and how and when not to get entangled in spite of being in that situation, because very often we are in that situation, like even in our workplace, or even other friends maybe, we have, or even extended family, who may not be in Krishna consciousness. So the thing is, what I think is that this maintaining of this higher frequency, it takes lifetimes. It takes lifetimes to get there, and once you've got the chance in this lifetime, and you never know next lifetime what's going to happen with everyone, right? And you got the chance. So I think what we should make sure is that we try as much as possible, and to keep ourselves always in this high frequency. And over here, by engaging, if we get the chance for like pure devotees or devotees who are in an elevated caliber, their company or their association, it is so very nice. So that's actually, those are some of the points that Srila Prabhupada had actually very nicely explained to us. And I found it very useful to go through the last three verses and then get through this verse. And then there are two or three other verses also, which are describing pure devotional service. And then just kind of think that, okay, where we are, and maybe what we can do in taking baby steps in trying to reach this stage. But then this particular verse, of course, is talking about unadulterated devotional service. And just to summarize, when the mind is at once attracted to hearing the transcendental name and qualities of the personality of Godhead, so it becomes one's constitutional position. One does not even have to, it just becomes for pure devotee. And just as the Ganges flows naturally towards the ocean, such devotional ecstasy flows towards the Supreme Lord. So it's automatically just flowing for a pure devotee. And Prabhupada, of course, has explained certain things is just by hearing, how it is without any reason, material or spiritual, and how it is totally uninterrupted. So that's all we have. Does anyone have any questions or comments? They can bring it up. If not, I thank you for attending, and Hare Krishna, Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. Thank you for attending.